All right, so today we're talking about taking massive action when it comes to our marriage and what it is that we do as husbands. Now, what this really means is we can't be passive, and we also can't just hope and wish that our marriage will improve. Instead, what we have to do is start the ball, because things that are in motion, they typically stay in motion and they take a lot less energy. When you first start out, you're going to feel like you can't take that much action because maybe you just got into a fight, or maybe you're just not quite sure what your wife is looking for, all kinds of things. We're going to talk about how you can overcome some of those things in this episode. But the real encouragement, like if you don't get anything else out of today's episode, is take massive action. Just go do it. Take massive action. All right, let's go. Welcome back to the Husband Coach's Corner, and you already heard it. We're talking about taking massive action today. Now, if we are just meeting for the first time, my name's Chris, and I am a husband to my beautiful wife, Crystal, and I teach husbands how to love their wife every single day and become better men in the process. Now, today's topic about taking massive action is really geared towards this idea of you got to start doing something, and you got to do a whole lot of it, because when you're first starting, you can't always find the right answer. All right. Maybe I will suggest some things to you and it won't be applicable for your marriage. Well, you have to try multiple things. And that's what I mean by taking massive action. Just go for it. Go and apply the things. If it works, great. If it doesn't, modify it. And if modification doesn't fix it, then just throw it out and try a new thing. But the only way that you're going to improve your marriage, any relationship, is if you take action, and not just mediocre action like, well, I kind of tried. No, you have to try and then reassess, evaluate, and then do again and again and again. And sometimes it's going to take 15, 20 tries until you find something that's actually going to move the needle on your marriage. Now, in the meantime, what is this doing for your overall mental state? Because I think that that's something us as men, we don't really like to talk about, but our mental state, it really does matter. Because if we're not mentally prepared to love our wives, or to put in the work and the effort that it's going to take in order to grow our relationship, in order to build our relationship, we're going to fall flat on our face. We're going to fail. And that's why I want to encourage you, at least in this moment, to just take that massive action. Because the more action you take, the more reinforcement that you are giving to yourself that you can do this, and that you are the person responsible for doing this. And as you start to do that, it just becomes more consistent, and it becomes a lot easier. It's a lot easier to take massive action than it is to take literally no action at all. Because when you take no action, which I'm sure we've all experienced, you get results that are frustrating, or at the minimum, disappointing. And those disappointing responses or results don't have to be the results that you get. If you look at any successful person, whatever you identify to be successful, they didn't just get there by sitting around doing nothing. They put in the work, they put in the effort, and then the thing happened. The success came. It didn't come because they were just sitting around doing a little bit of something, a little bit of nothing. It literally came because they continued to work at it. And that's the same thing that it takes for our marriages. Every marriage takes work. So if someone told you marriage is easy, which I've never heard that statement or saying ever in my life, so I don't think that anyone is saying that. And if you ever hear someone say that, run from them. All right. The idea of marriage in its construct or in the construction of it, it is definitely a simplistic method. It's a simple model, right? A husband and a wife come together and they work together in order to raise a family, love each other, but first and foremost, honor God. All right. And when those things are put into balance, so honoring God, loving one another, and then investing and enriching a family, things are simple. They're not easy. It's not easy to be in a relationship. Even if you just have friends, they're going to require something of you, and that's going to take action and probably massive action. So, what do you need to do to take massive action? Everyone is going to start somewhere different. So just, bear with me on this. If you are in a relationship right now in your marriage and you know for a fact that you're just having all kinds of issues, like arguing, financial issues, just all kinds of stuff. All right. What I want you to do is sit down with all of your issues and say, okay, which one is going to which one is going to fix or improve my marriage the most? Whichever thing that is, whichever problem it is. Don't worry about all the other ones, because when you start to focus on every single issue, it becomes overwhelming and then you don't want to take massive action. So instead, the first action that you need to take is to assess which thing that you need to improve on is going to help improve your relationship the most today or in the next 48 hours. We'll say it like that. All right. Whatever that thing is, don't worry about what the action step is. Just find that thing. So if I could get more money and be able to pay off this debt, or if I can find a romantic place, because my wife doesn't get to go to these romantic places for a date night or whatever it may be. You choose whatever it is, you figure it out. Just figure that issue out. Then sit down and think about, okay, what would it take for me to do this halfway, right? Because you got to identify what halfway looks like. And then you say, okay, well, if halfway is I'd look on Google and I find a few places that are around me, right? But I don't call the place and make a reservation or anything like that. I just have a list of places. And it's like, well, I have the thought to take her to a nice place. That could be halfway. That doesn't get you any results. If your wife is like, well, see, you never take me to romantic places, you're not going to respond with, well, I kind of Googled and I brought up the restaurants in the area. So at least I know what restaurants are romantic restaurants in the area. That's average, right? That's basic. Sure, you get some credit for the thought, but the thought doesn't always count. All right. It's the action that counts. So after you've Googled the places, then it's time to start making those reservations and then to go beyond that, right? Because maybe even making a reservation could be considered average. To go beyond that, perhaps you can start to encourage your wife to go and find some clothes that are going to look really nice. Get her super excited for what's about to happen. Make it a surprise. Heck, if your wife doesn't like surprises, then just tell her what you're doing so that way she gets excited for the event. Like completely just live the event up. All right. Go get flowers, go buy champagne if that's something that you guys are into. If you can afford it, get her some jewelry. Like really amp this whole experience up. Make it something that is extremely memorable. All right. And then execute extremely well on the day. So open her car door, like whatever your wife is really into. Take massive action and just go overboard. I promise you. the return on investment for this is going to 10 times or 10x, as Grant Cardone says in his book, The 10x Rule, which is where this massive action idea is coming from. But if you take this massive action, your wife is going to reciprocate, and it's going to help you in the long run. And even if you fall short on just a few of those things, you are going to move the needle a lot further in that short period of time that you are doing to take the action, the massive action, because you were amping things up, that your wife is going to reciprocate that in such a way that the needle is going to move and your relationship is going to improve. Now, I want to be clear that this massive action mindset is a continual thing, because it's a mindset. It's not a one-time thing. You don't just do it once and then it's done and you never have to worry about it again. No, you have to continuously do it. Every single day, every single week, take massive action. Now, I don't have the time in today's episode to go deeper into why this is such a beneficial thing, but I will say that if you go and apply this in your life today, you're going to see the investment, the improvement. You're going to see the return on your investment when you do this. And it's not only with your wife, it's in anything that you do. When you take massive action, you get this thing called momentum. And for those who have ever played sports, when you have momentum on your side, the other things in the arena or the other things that are, kind of going against you, they dissipate, because momentum is hard to stop. But it's hard to develop the momentum unless you are taking massive action and you're just going at it until you find the thing that starts that momentum rolling. And then you just continue to push through and grow and gain on that momentum. So again, I just wanted to make a quick episode that was encouraging, and hopefully this was, that you need to take massive action, and that starts today. So after this podcast is over, I want you to sit down, identify what areas you have to take action in, and then select one. Don't worry about all of them. Just select one of those areas and take action today. Whatever that looks like, take massive action today. So with that, I hope you're well. Until next time, I want you guys to find ways to love your wife every single day. Peace.